Good morning, everyone. It's been a while, hasn't it? Well, I thought it's better late than never. Let's do a quick tour of what's going on in the garden at this time of the year. It is late June. Now, to be honest, everything is a little bit behind schedule because we had such a cold spring. Now, just as a reminder, we are Zone 3 in Alberta, Canada. So here's a bit of a shot of the front yard. Now we are in an urban lot, so it's not as big. We're not as lucky as some people out there out in the country. But I just wanted to show you all the plants that you can tuck into a small property. So we'll start here at this border. Now I did want to divide the two property lines. And so we've got nest spruce. This will get huge, but this one's not too big quite yet. It is a full sun location. We're facing south. Here we have some yellow foxtail grass. I love this plant. It does spread, but then you can just dig it up and give it to friends, whether they want it or not. We've also got some Siberian iris in there. Now, I should have showed you a couple days ago. It was just loaded with flowers. It's really beautiful. Carl Forster feather reed grass is coming along. And then in the front of it, we have some double flowering yellow daylilies. So I will show you for sure a picture of that when it is flowering because it is spectacular. One of my favorite daylilies. I'm trying not to go too fast just to keep everyone from not getting dizzy. But now, this 9-bark, it's Diablo. I got this for $3 at a clearance a few years ago. And it obviously is happy. Look how huge that is. It's got to be about 9 feet tall. I could cut it back, but I like the screen that it gives from the neighbor's driveway. But it is loaded in flowers. Really pretty shrub and low maintenance. I have never had a problem with this shrub. Underneath, I have some spirea. It's a bit shady for the spirea. So we may trim up this 9-bark just a little bit to give the spirea a bit more light. And up high, some 2 struggling columnar blue spruce. I keep fertilizing and water these. They're not very happy, but they are starting to come back, and at the top, they are getting some new growth. So that's an encouraging sign for sure. Trying to go slow here for you. I have a habit of just wanting to rush through these videos and almost end up getting seasick. I do have a couple of containers with some annuals here in the front. My color palette for this year was coral pink, peach, and yellow. So what I think is really beautiful is this Calibrachoa. Kind of an orangey, yellow, and pink combination. Isn't that lovely? And in beside it, this is called Terracotta Petunia. A little bit of a deeper coloration from the Calibrachoa, but still all in the same tones. And this Coleus. Now, like I said, this is full sun, but I think the shade from this daylily gives this Coleus just enough protection so that it doesn't get too unhappy. And we're just about flowering on that daylily. Now the side yard, this is typically where I just put plants that I have no idea where they're going to go. But it's a pretty spot. I do have some plans for next year. Lady's mantle there. My favorite thing about this plant is after it rains, the droplets of water on the leaves are so pretty. Small things make me happy. But I love that chartreuse color. Really easy plant to grow. In fact, it will self-seed if you let it, if you don't cut off the flowers. But the flowers are quite pretty when you put them in a vase inside the house. Now here is a Copertina 9 bark. This was in the backyard, and then the dog just trampled it to death. But it's much happier here, although small. Really pretty color though of the leaves. Kind of an orangey rust. And it picks up the color of this iris. Pretty nice. All the irises are pretty much finished flowering. They're beautiful, but they really don't last very long. As these peonies are kind of the same way. But I will always have peonies in my yard. They smell so fantastic, and I'll cut them and bring them in, and it just makes the whole house smell. This is some kind of heritage variety, I'm not even sure. But peonies will live for years and years and years. And to be honest, I don't do anything special with them. Now here's some ajuga, just finishing flowering. This I would like more of. I'm trying to grow these on, and then I divide them up and put them in different areas of the yard. Get another look at that peony. I did have to put a peony ring on there, because if I didn't, these flowers would be on the ground. And a hosta. Quite happy here in this shadier area of the yard. And lamium. Let's have a look at some more of the front yard. So this area is pretty much dominated by this giant nest spruce. Now this is one plant. It's huge. This has got to be 8 feet wide. And this mugo pine. But to be honest, I am quite happy with the size of these plants. They take up a lot of space, and then I don't have to do too much with it. A couple of golden barberries. Now this blue oatgrass is really pretty. I love the blue silver color of the foliage and the seed heads and the movement in the wind. Really nice. And then once the feather reed grass starts getting its seed heads, everything is just swaying in the breeze. At this time of the year, I have a lot of purpley blue color in this bed. Last year we picked up this blue penstemon, but I've got a couple of irises there that are a very deep purple. Unfortunately, they've finished flowering. And some catmint or nepeta. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that. It's a young plant, but it does make quite an impact, and the bees love it. And some Siberian iris. Just one flower left. And in this section, we are pretty much dominated by this Schubert chokecherry. I love this tree. It starts off with green leaves and white flowers, and then it slowly transitions to burgundy. But it is huge, and it's starting to cast quite a lot of shade in this area of the yard. So some of my plants are happy, some not. This juniper was much larger. I took a lot of it out a couple of years ago because it did not enjoy the shade. But there's just enough there, enough sun right there at the edge of the driveway for it to be happy. And these daylilies may have to be moved at some point, but for now, we'll leave them. The euphorbia was gorgeous in the spring. Now, one project we're going to try and do is to just encourage this lamium to get all the way around here. I love this variegated foliage. It really brightens up a shady spot in the yard. And tough plant. I mean, once you have a bit of it, you'll quickly have a lot. It self-seeds and it spreads. These grasses will probably have to be moved. They're struggling a bit. But the hostas are happy. Huge. Now I just wanted to show you this Ito peony. It doesn't look at its best because we did have a huge rainfall, which I think knocked off a lot of the petals. But the nice thing about this is the buds start off a deep coral pink, and then as the flower matures, it slowly transitions to more of a peach and a yellow flower. Really unique. But just for some instant color, I popped in a few coral pink impatiens. The sedum is happy. This one's a dazzleberry. Kind of has a nice blue-green foliage, hot pink flowers. And then this taller sedum, it will turn a deep purple color. My quickfire hydrangea is budding out. One of the earliest hydrangeas to flower. Another huge nest spruce. Now, when we first moved into this house, the entire border was completely different. I reworked the whole thing, but basically from the front of the house to the street, it was just nest spruce. Not very interesting. But here's another Diablo 9-bark. I put in this, what was supposed to be a smaller pine. It's getting pretty big. And a high bush cranberry. Just to screen the neighbors. This creeping phlox was really pretty. I picked the blue variety, and it was just coated in blue flowers. And I want that to spread all throughout. All right, we'll walk to the backyard. Just take a quick peek at this border from this side of the sidewalk. So the hostas, they can handle a little bit of sun, but they are a shade perennial. My Bergenia is happy. Here's some more of that bugleweed. I'd love it to spread all around this area. So one thing I try and do when I'm planning out which shrubs to put in is to repeat colors throughout the yard. So if you notice the color here of this spirea and its seed heads, which are a burgundy, it complements the color of this 9-bark really well. And then we've got more of that catmint over here. Now this area is getting a little bit too shaded for this blue oat grass. It may have to move, as well as this barberry. In this location it turns to more of a chartreuse green color, but if I put it in the sun it turns a brilliant yellow. This high bush cranberry was just loaded in flowers this spring, and we're going to get a lot of berries on it.